Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are taking a look at a brand new game, Resident Evil Village, or 8, same thing. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Real quick, just before we get started, be sure to leave a like on the video, and if you guys enjoyed the content, please consider becoming a subscriber. We are super close to hitting our goal of 400 subs. So yeah, if you guys like it, leave a like, be a sub, why not? Yeah, so this is Resident Evil Village, or Resident Evil 8. It's the 8th installment. And I honestly I've never really been into the Resident Evil series, or I shouldn't say I haven't been into them, I just haven't followed them. If you guys watched my Resident Evil 2 remake, I'll throw that one at the end of the video and possibly in the description. And that was my first introduction to Resident Evil. And I haven't played any of the games in between because I don't have my 360 or my PS3 anymore for some of those older ones. And I know some of them might be probably on Game Pass or something, or backwards compatibility, but I don't have any of those games, so I haven't played any of them. I do have Resident Evil Biohazard, which I believe is 7. That came with the PlayStation 5. They give you like 20 free games or something like that. So I do have that one, and I do plan on playing it. I just got a few other games to beat first. But yeah, just jumping right into Resident Evil 8. I remember seeing the trailer for this, you know, way back when it first revealed trailer, I believe at the PlayStation show or whatever. I don't even know what you'd call it. But anyways, I remember seeing it, and all I thought was, bro, this is Bloodborne 2. This is Bloodborne 2. This is Bloodborne 2. And then it said Village, and I was like, is it Bloodborne Village? Like, it just was giving me heavy Bloodborne vibes, especially when it showed that big old dude. I forget his name. His name's like Osiris or something like that, and he's the big werewolf dude with the huge axe. It just seems very like Bloodborne type. And even like the design, I don't know. It was just screaming Bloodborne to me, but it wasn't. It was Resident Evil 8, so maybe eventually we will get a Bloodborne sequel. I'm gonna keep my hopes very, very high. But yeah, so I remember seeing that, and I was like, you know what? This game looks good. And that was my original draw, is that it reminded me a lot of Bloodborne, and I'm a huge fan. Bloodborne is literally my top 3 favorite games of all time. And so I was like, you know what, maybe I need to check out this series. And I remember talking about it with my buddy, and then he was playing Resident Evil 2 at the time, and he's like, bro, you need to check out this one. And so I got it. Fantastic game. Like I said, I'll leave that in the description. As with all my other reviews, we'll do our pros and cons. I'll throw the cons up first, just so that we can focus on the negative right away, and then we can, at the end, get all that good stuff. So, Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil Village, cons for the game. So, first of all, I just want to say that I did thoroughly enjoy this game for the most part. These cons here are a few things that I noticed that I didn't quite like. Sometimes it's just nitpicky stuff because that's just how we are as gamers. So the first thing that I wrote here, I'm looking down at my notes on this whiteboard, and is that frame rates drop sometimes. You got a beautiful area, all the graphics are really great, but I did notice when you're going from different parts of the map, because the map's kind of divided up into, there's like the 4 main lords, and each time you go to one of their areas and you're going back to the main area, which is the village, I did notice that there were some frame rate drops, especially when you're running around. So yeah, that was kind of, I wouldn't say annoying, but it was a nitpicky thing. I didn't notice it too much on Resident Evil 2. And like I said, I've only played Resident Evil 2, so a lot of my comparisons are going to be with that game. So another thing is that I never really felt in danger. So, like I said, comparing it to Resident Evil 2, I feel like I had to really be conservative with my ammo. I didn't want to just shoot anything. I did have my knife out for a lot of things, or like melee stuff, just to make sure that I didn't waste my ammo, because I felt like ammo was so hard to come by in that game. In this one, and the reason I say never felt danger is because ammo is just readily accessible to you. Even if you run out of ammo, you can go to this merchant guy called the Duke, which is not in Resident Evil 2. So like if you run out of ammo, you're just out of luck. Like you just run out of ammo. But in this one, it's like you run out of ammo, and you can technically buy sniper rounds. You could buy things to make bullets. But he just straight up has ammo for you to buy. Yeah, it's super expensive, but it's there. I did buy the shotgun ammo a few times, and the freaking, I don't even know how many rounds of the handgun ammo he had, but a freaking ton. So that was kind of like the thing where I never really felt in danger. I always felt like I had more than enough going into each area, going into each boss fight, is that I had plenty of ammo. That doesn't necessarily mean that it was bad, but I just felt like, especially in this, like in Resident Evil 2, when you go unlock that new door and you didn't know what was behind it, it's like, bro, I literally have 1 shotgun round and 3 bullets. So, and in this one, you know, before I went to each area, I did kind of stock up just to make sure that I had everything. So that was just kind of the thing that I never really felt the sense of danger like I did with Resident Evil 2 Remake. Going on to the next section, looking at all the trailers and looking at all the promotional stuff, it just really seemed like the castle of Resident Evil Village was going to be a huge part of the game. And it really wasn't. I mean, it is, but it just felt short. Like, the section felt short. I just felt like that we were going to be in this castle for much longer than we were. And that was kind of more of like a nitpicky thing on my end, just because I really loved the design of the castle. I really loved the way that it looked. I loved the layout. I loved everything about the castle, except for the part that it was just super short. So... and maybe that's just me thinking, like I said, comparing it to Resident Evil 2, I felt like you were in, especially with Leon's part, like you were in the police station for a vast part, and then you were in the sewers for a vast part. So like you were in these 2 different parts for a very long time. And I just feel like this one, like I said, there's like the 4 different somewhat areas that you get to go to, and the castle was just one of the 4. So I guess it was like a fourth of the game. And that was just kind of a nitpicky thing. I just wish that we got to spend a little bit more time in the castle. Moving on to the next one. Lady Demetrescu. Demetris. I don't know how to say it. I'm just going to call her Lady D, just for... because I don't know how to friggin' read. Lady D was not really a threat, as big of a threat as I wanted to. Especially comparing it to Resident Evil 2, I really thought that the way they made it seem is that she was going to be just like, what's his name, Mr. X, the white dude that literally chases you. I've literally, like, you guys can watch my review, I've never been so stressed in a game than Resident Evil 2. When that dude is chasing you, I just felt, especially because you had no rounds, he was invincible, and she's invincible too up until you fight her as a boss, but... she just wasn't as intimidating. I just felt like she wasn't very fast. I felt like the Mr. X was kind of fast. Like, you can hear him stomping out, and he would catch up to you pretty quick. I felt like I can easily outrun Lady D in the castle no matter what. And she had a very telegraphed, like, claw attack where she reached out and, like, would swipe you. Never once... Actually, no, I did get hit one time by her claw attack. But she just wasn't as big of a threat as I thought she was going to be. I thought she was literally going to be chasing you around in the castle the whole time. And yeah, there were some few parts where she was chasing after me, but I was very easily able to get away, no problem. Just like with Mr. X, like the music cues, and you're like, oh, I'm like, oh crap, where is she? She sees me somewhere. But yeah, that was kind of nitpicky thing. Moving on to the next thing, both of these are characters that I liked, but I didn't really like. And bear in mind, I haven't played any of the other games other than Resident Evil 2. So the next one is Chris Redfield. I did not really like his character at all. Yeah, it was kind of fun to play as him towards the end, but you know, he just kind of seemed like a douche. And I know he's a pretty big character, and I want to say Resident Evil 4, and he shows up at 7. So, I mean, he's a beloved character. I, only playing that one game, just didn't connect with him. Especially with, like, the story part, where he just goes in and he shoots Ethan's wife, but he doesn't say anything, snatches the kin, and all he says is, "No, Ethan." And I'm like, bro, like... And then at the end, like, he tells you, like... this, and I'm like, bro, you could have avoided all of this if you would have just told Ethan at the very beginning. And they kind of say this in the game. They're like, oh, you waited too long to tell Ethan. Now it's like, bro, I would have told him right there when you're snatching his kid after you from his point of view, you just freaking murdered his wife and now you're stealing his kid. Like, I'm pretty sure the dude deserves an explanation. So I just didn't really like his character that much. I just felt like he was just kind of being like, oh, I'm not going to tell you. Like that kid that would say like, hey, I know a secret about you, but I'm not going to tell you. And it's like, now you're just trying to get the information out from him, but he's just not saying anything. So yeah, I didn't really like Chris Redfield's character that much. I just wish that maybe, I don't know. Because at the end, you know, Ethan's on your side, and it's like you guys work together for a little bit, but it's like, bro, like all this could have been avoided if you would have just told him at the beginning. Yeah, so not really a likable character. Maybe I'll change my mind when I play Resident Evil Biohazard, because that is definitely next on the list. Moving on to the kind of the last thing that I didn't really like, and it was kind of like a like-dislike, is the character Heisenberg, which is the second to last boss. He's one of the four lords. I forget I just been calling him Heisenberg. He kind of reminds me of like a mixture of like Keanu Reeves and Nicolas Cage. Like they kind of a mixture of the two. He's weird. I did like his character for some parts, but then the other parts, his motive and stuff like that, I just didn't really like, because he wanted to take out Lady Miranda. Awesome. Well, guess who else wants to take out Lady Miranda? Freaking the main character, bro. Like, but he wanted to do it his way, and he wanted to use your daughter as a weapon to kill her. And it's like, you don't, I mean, obviously you didn't need that because you beat her without the daughter. So it's like she could be beaten, but it's just like he's a bad guy, but he doesn't like Miranda, and you guys could have worked together. I don't know. It just didn't really make any sense, because it's like, yes, he wants you to be on his team, and I don't know. It just didn't really like make sense to me. It just didn't really click, because I'm like, bro, like you both want the same thing. You both want Miranda. Freaking kill Miranda. And I get Ethan. He doesn't want to use his daughter Rose. Heisenberg wants to use Rose because he knows Rose is powerful. But then he's basically like, oh yeah, you don't want to help me with Rose? Then I'm just going to drop you down to this giant propeller monster dude that I made. Have fun with that. So, I don't know. I just didn't really like that. I just thought it would make a lot more sense because they both had... Anyways, those were the things that I didn't particularly like about Resident Evil 8. Yes, there's probably some that I missed. Let me know if you guys came up with anything else that you didn't quite like about Resident Evil 8. Now moving into the things that I really liked about this game and that I freaking loved for the most part. First of all, right off the bat, graphics are freaking amazing. I mean, yes, there are some frame rate drops here and there, but for the most part, like, the detail to everything was really good. I really loved the animation, especially, like, at the beginning where it shows, like, the little book and it's going through, like, the little, what would you call it, like, the prologue or epilogue, something like that. I think it's prologue. Before, to kind of set what happened, the story, all of the graphics and animation were fantastic. I freaking loved it. Going on to the next one, the weapons. I did like a lot of the weapons. I think my favorite was probably the Wolf's Bane. It's like the giant pistol that shoots silver bullets, which freaking awesome. You get some pretty crazy weapons with Chris Redfield, which would have been super nice to get, you know, throughout the game, because and the level with Chris Redfield, you're just mowing down freaking Lycans. And it would have been really nice to have that in the game. But, you know, all the weapons I thought were really cool. They have a lot of customizable parts that you can add to it. Kind of like Resident Evil 2, but I just feel like it was more than Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2, you had a few guns that you can, you know, equip an extra long clip and this and that. This one, almost every weapon had some sort of customizable part, for the most part. It kind of goes on to the next one. Is I really like the inventory system in this. I thought it was kind of cool that you can kind of, almost like Tetris, kind of mix and match it. If things didn't quite line up, you can move it around to create some free space. Something that I wish Resident Evil 2 had, because there was times where I had things that I felt like I could have had, but, you know, Anyways, I thought the inventory system was fantastic. I hope that they continue that in the next game. Really liked it. Moving on to the next one. Freaking the bosses and the enemies were awesome. So I was a little confused just to kind of set where my mind was at as I played Resident Evil 2. Freaking zombies, you know, it's like a virus. And then I see Resident Evil 8 and I'm like, bro, there's like werewolves and vampires. Like, what the heck? Like, this is totally shifting. But if you guys haven't played it, I mean, obviously I've said a lot of spoilers already, but basically there is still the virus that makes you a zombie. But this Miranda chick was she was experimenting, same with Heisenberg, same with a lot of these, the four lords were all experimenting on the people of the village to try to create the perfect vessel, at least Mother Miranda was, to create the perfect vessel for her daughter to come back. And as a result, a lot of these village people turned into lichens. Mother Miranda experimented on the four lords, which that's why they're four lords, and that's why Mother Miranda, or Lady D, she ends up turning into a vampire type thing. So they all they give an explanation, which I liked. So it wasn't just like, oh, yeah, in this part you're just fighting werewolves and vampires. No, they give a pretty good explanation. I liked it. It did take a little bit to kind of figure out that, and obviously these weren't in Biohazard. So, but the enemies, freaking, I liked. The only thing that I didn't like, I guess I didn't really put this in the dislikes, but this is probably my own just not being very good, is that the enemies sway a lot. Like, there's a lot of times where I'm just like shooting my pistol or my shotgun, and right as I hit to shoot, the lichen jukes me out and he dodges my bullet, and I'm like, bro, I wasted so much ammo just missing stuff. So, but I did really like the lichens. I thought they were cool. The boss fights I thought were really fun, really cinematic, which from what I've heard, is not like some of the other games, was not like Biohazard. The bosses did seem a little short. I think they kind of suffered from, what would you call it? I just felt like the bosses were really big, but the areas were really small, and it was hard to kind of maneuver around. I didn't really notice this too much when you fight Lady D. You're up on a rooftop, and yeah, it was kind of small and circular kind of thing. I noticed it a lot when you fought the fish dude, because he's really big, and I just felt like I don't know, it's just really cramped. But one of my favorite bosses was the freaking baby. I mean, that's not even a boss, but it's the second area that you go to is like a house, and you lose all your weapons, and you're trying to escape this house, and you have to figure out all the puzzles and watch all the different things to try to figure out how to get out. And once you kind of get to this part where there's like a mannequin on a table, once you get to that particular part, all the lights flicker and go down, and now you got to figure out like why the power went out, and this giant freaking baby is chasing you the entire time, and it is freaking scary. And I just wish that the rest of the game was that scary, because that was freaking good. My wife was watching me play that, and she's like, why are you always playing these scary games? And I was like, this is literally the scariest part of the whole game. This is freaking creepy. I literally like ran. I didn't know what to do. I didn't even want to get close to this thing. So I ran in the game, and there's like a part where you can like hide under a bed. So I hid under the bed, and it like slowly wormed its way around, and it like screams, and it says like mama, dada. Oh my goodness. Freaking creepy. That's all I gotta say. Freaking creepy. But I loved it. It was freaking awesome. Such a good boss. I mean, that wasn't even a boss, but it was just a certain part. And then you're trying to get to the elevator, and as I'm getting to the elevator, I'm like pushing the button and putting the thing in and trying to get the elevator coming. I can hear that it's coming, and you turn around, and it's just like almost right there. And then like pretty much, I'm pretty sure it's telegraphed, so it's like once you get to the certain point, like once you hit the button, like it will never catch you. But still, right as it closes, it like slams up against the freaking elevator, and it like screams at you. Such a good part of the game. But yeah, there's like the four lords. So that was one of the lords, because once you go up the elevator, you fight like this doll lady. Really creepy, really great part of the whole game. I really love the second area. And then you fight like this fish dude. Let's see, you got Lady D, the doll chick, the fish dude. I literally don't remember. I think it's Donna is like the freaking doll. Anyways, and you got the fish dude, and then you got Heisenberg, and then Mother Miranda is the fifth and final boss. So yeah, enemies, all the enemies, each area that you go to has slightly different enemies, slightly different bosses as well. So or mini bosses, I should say. So freaking great, loved both of those. I did enjoy the puzzles, although I do wish that there was more. So like, some of the puzzles were really good, like trying to get the ball down and trying to figure out certain things to try to get out, and looking at the mannequin, especially in that second area, to try to figure out the puzzles. I love the puzzles. I just wish that there was more. I felt like Resident Evil 2 had more puzzles to try to figure out. I did feel like there's a lot of backtracking in that, and then this one, there wasn't as much puzzles as I thought there was going to be. Still fun, still like them all, just wish that there was a little bit more. Another thing that I really liked is I thought the story was pretty good. It wasn't anything crazy. My mic's falling down. I smacked the stand. Yeah, so story. And the only reason I say that it's kind of good is because I'm only getting, I believe, half of the story. I haven't played Biohazard, but I did watch the little like before you start the game, you can watch like the little recap. So I just watched the recap. Granted, it's only 5 minutes, so I didn't get a full, recap kind of thing. Missed a lot of things, but I thought it was good. Had some twists and turns that I didn't see coming. Yeah, I would say it wasn't like a blow me away type story, but I thought it was still good. It kept me invested, kept me wanting to know what was happening. I just keep going back to I wish that the castle scene was a little bit longer, but anyways. And then let's see. The last thing is I did like the Duke. It was kind of like a like/dislike with the Duke, because I didn't like the Duke. I mean, I said this earlier because it kind of took away from the severity of things, like made me not feel like I was in danger as much, because I know that it's like, oh hey, I'm out of ammo. Let me just run back down to the Duke, purchase some real quick, because I knew that I was always guaranteed to get ammo there, even though it was super expensive and I didn't really do it. You had that backdrop, that comfort that you can go back and like, oh yeah, I can go grab ammo. Resident Evil 2, you never had that, but I did like the Duke's character. He was fun. I do like all the upgrades that he had, and I do like that you could have collected money in exchange, and he does exchange a lot of different things for money. And then he's kind of a mystery. Like even at the end, like you ask, like, what are you doing here? Why are you following me, kind of thing. And he even says that he doesn't even know why he's here. He doesn't know what his purpose is. So it's kind of a little mystery. I mean, I'd have to look a little bit more onto that, but it kind of alluded like that he has a purpose, but we don't really know what it was. I heard someone say that maybe he should have been like the fifth Lord, but originally I guess he got scrapped, and so like they still put him in, but he was... Anyways, because he seems to know an awful lot about what's going on, especially like with the child being split up, and anyways, lots of mystery around him. I still liked him. He had like, once you get to a certain point, you can do recipes, and it can permanently increase your health and I believe stamina and block and stuff like that. So stuff that you didn't really get in Resident Evil 2. So overall, fantastic game. Oh my gosh. And now the part where we rate this game out of 10. So I've been thinking about this literally all day, because I've been kind of going back and forth between two numbers. There's like the I should say the new fan, because I've only played this game and Resident Evil 2, that really likes this game, but then there's like the thing that's like, but do I like it better than Resident Evil 2? Because I gave Resident Evil 2 an 8, and I thought that was a great game. And after thinking about it, I'm going to give this Resident Evil Village a 9 out of 10. And I know a lot of people might disagree with me. I know a lot of people might rate it low. I've seen some other reviews that I follow personally that gave it a little bit lower score than I did. But for me, I was just like, man, I really enjoyed this game. Now, granted, I'm coming in as someone that hasn't played. I'm not a hardcore fan. I haven't played freaking the other 6 games, so I'm not as invested, so I can understand why some people might rate it lower, because maybe they messed up on lore things or this and that they changed, you know what I mean. So I'm coming in as pretty much a fresh person, new to the series, and I thought it was fantastic. And the only reason I said I went back and forth is because my initial thought was like, yeah, it was an 8, but then I was like, oh, but there are certain parts that I was like the baby scene was really good, and I personally really liked the boss fights. They were really good, and so I kind of went back and forth, and I was like, you know what, if someone put Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil Village in front of me and told me to pick one, it would really suck, but I think I might pick Village. They're really close. Literally just one number difference, but yeah, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Let me know what you guys gave it. Have you guys played it yet? And drop it down in the comments below. What did you guys like the most about it? What did you guys hate about it? What did you guys give it out of 10? And yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in to my Resident Evil Village review. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like on the video, and consider becoming a subscriber. We got more videos on the way. Let's see. I'm looking over here at my games because, yeah, so we have Returnal that's coming up next. That might take a little bit longer than I thought, but and then we have the Mass Effect Legendary Collection, which I know is going to take me a little bit because it's 3 games in one. So, yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Whether you're a subscriber or not, you guys are freaking awesome. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch my videos, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.